Hi everyone, it's Justine. You might know the difference between haute couture and prêt-à-porter, or ready-to-wear already, but how they both appeared and now coexist is an interesting story. How do they actually work, couture and ready-to-wear? Which fashion houses do it? When is Fashion Week for haute couture, etc. Paris, as a fashion city, has played a huge role in the development of the fashion industry, so it is where this story starts. From clothes to haute couture. Before the Industrial Revolution, queens and rich people from the court would have their garments tailor-made for them. This is Marie Antoinette, Queen of France. Each piece was unique. The tailors had no inventory. This is how clothes have been made for many, many centuries. Couture in French simply means sewing, nothing more. Couturier is the person who sews, nothing fancy. Couturiers were suppliers. They weren't celebrities, and they certainly were not invited to the parties they were dressing people for. Then came the 20th century. Some Paris-based houses became internationally famous, like Chanel, Schiaparelli, Patou, or Vionnet. They attracted the world's bourgeoisie, and they started to create very rich clothes that their clients could show off in. And couture progressively became haute couture. Designers wanted to do haute couture and nothing else. Doing regular tailor-made clothing wasn't cool anymore. And then came Prêt-à-Porter. By the 1950s and after World War II, people's budgets and priorities had changed, I guess. Buying couture clothing was just not at the top of the wish list anymore, and couture houses started to slowly decline. Their reaction, logically, was to renew the offer, and Prêt-à-Porter, ready-to-wear, was born. It catered to many more people and made fashion actually accessible to normal people. And it made the haute couture houses profitable again. They would sell the dream with couture garments and then sell actual garments thanks to their ready-to-wear collections. Yves Saint Laurent, when he started his Rive Gauche business, which is ready-to-wear, had this exact strategy in mind. At that time, couture garments and ready-to-wear garments didn't look that different yet. Here are two of his creations from the 60s. The Saharienne, a safari jacket for women, this is ready-to-wear, and the cocktail dress inspired by Mondrian, the painter. The dress needed more work and it's better fabric, of course, but in terms of wearability, it is not over the top. Both garments are actually functional and wearable. The new haute couture in the era of ready-to-wear. Since then, ready-to-wear has gained more and more importance in the industry, and it now represents most of the sales for all houses. Haute couture had to adapt and got pushed more and more, a lot further than it used to be pushed. Now, a couture collection is your business card. It's what gets you a picture in Vogue. It's the dream. It's the reason why students go to fashion school and want to become designers. Haute couture today really means extravagance, huge lengths of fabrics, volume, rare materials, hours of work. Nothing is too much. There are several ways of doing it. Valentino or Dior will create the perfect princess ball gown. Margiela will go extremely experimental, not always wearable, but that's not the point of it. Chanel is one of those that remain rather wearable, but with incredible handcrafts and with a very high price tag. When they can afford to ignore the rules of business and profitability, and when they have budget to create collections that are art rather than design, couture designers produce and show things that really wouldn't be possible in ready-to-wear. Example, the Clochard collection by Galliano for Dior in 2000. Clochard means homeless in French. The garments were ripped, had prints of old newspapers on them, threads hanging here and there, and empty whiskey bottles attached. Obviously, the collection was an instant scandal and didn't exactly go down in history as a bestseller among the haute couture customers. But if you look at that handcraft from up close, it is really, really impressive. Can haute couture survive? Today, most fashion houses do ready-to-wear without having ever done haute couture. And they're still taken seriously, which wasn't the case in the 50s and 60s. But there are some houses that still do both with success. The calendar is not an issue. Couture Fashion Week in Paris is in July for fall-winter. Couture means no inventory, so you can start ordering your couture pieces right after the show. Then comes the ready-to-wear Fashion Week in September. for the following summer. This way they have time to buy the fabrics, produce and deliver the collection. So couture and ready-to-wear run at different moments in the year. Chanel is a great example of a house that has kept doing both things with success over time. Lagerfeld designs both the couture and the ready-to-wear collections. This way they're absolutely sure that everything has one aesthetics. And then Chanel has bought several traditional French businesses that have the skills and the experience needed for couture quality. So they own the whole supply chain, and the knowledge and the know-how that they now have in-house is beneficial to all their collections. Embroidery is one of those traditional skills. The Le Sage family has been supplying handmade embroideries to all of the Parisian houses since the 1920s. Now they do the embroideries of the Chanel couture wedding gowns. Shoemaking is another important part in the show. Massaro is the atelier that has been creating Chanel shoes since the time of Gabrielle Chanel, and now they belong to the house. Making pleats is another traditional skill. L'Oignon has been pleating fabric since 1945. You pinch the fabric between cardboard pieces, you heat, you press everything. It's quite a labor-intensive process as well. I think it's important that this know-how and the ability, the possibility of creating such pretty things doesn't get lost or forgotten. Haute couture has changed. It became a form of art rather than a wearable design, but that's okay. Things change. Haute couture has changed and its place in the overall fashion industry has changed. That's it. Different story, different era. What do you think about haute couture? Do you agree? Thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and wish to see more videos like this one in the future, and now come 2 more for you to watch. I'll see you very soon again. New videos every Wednesday and Sunday on this channel. Have a great week and take care. Bye bye!